D4G Crazy 8th episode.
Diving in. Diving in. Diving in. Diving in.
What do we get condom?
Diving in. Diving in. Glory. Diving in. Diving in. Glory. Diving in. Glory.
Yeah. Oh, that was my best one yet. And you didn't even get to hear it. Yo, hola motherfuckers, man. Welcome back. That's the wrong joint. That's right. Anyway, we're back. Episode 8, D4G. Your host, Pep Corciola, and my man, Sir Solomon.
What's up?
What it do this week, man? We got Madrid Derby. We got the Big Bears of Chelsea. They like their Sturridge cold, man. Not hot. Word up. Leverkusen, Dortmund. We're going to look at that game. The old lady continues her run through Italy. And our prestigious and egregious D4G awards mixed with our Champions League preview and our Big Four previews and reviews. And we on it, man. How you feeling?
Ready?
Ready, man. Jersey's tucked. Just the cup. D4G, man. Let's go. Yeah, always got to get that, fuck off Mourinho in there. Yeah, man.
Yes, indeed.
Real quick, I sure forgot to mention, man, Diving for Glory, man, enhanced this year. So please tune in as we will be posting every Monday on iTunes, YouTube, and divingforglory.com. Also hitting you with Thursday episodes following the Champions League games now. You can find us on Twitter at Diving for Glory and Facebook as well. Follow, hashtag, subscribe, like, retweet. All that, man. If you listen, like us, man, please hit us up, iTunes, and rate us 5 celestial beings. Please. All right, man. I'm going to start Premier League. Huge matchup. Chelsea at home versus top of the table Liverpool. Talk about it, Sir Solomon.
So good they did it twice.
That's right. Well, we're not covering the EFL Cup on this motherfucker. At least not till like semis or something.
But
yeah.
If you get crossed up on a pickup game or if you get crossed up in the NBA, it's the same thing, right? So
Highlights a highlight. One of my favorite Kobe Bryant highlights.
It doesn't matter, but they lost to Chelsea earlier in the week.
True.
In a game where both teams looking towards the weekend game decided to rest a lot of players, and it was not their accurate representation of their teams, but
no, enough good players played.
Yes,
that's for sure.
A lot of guys, even though they were rested, made cameos that were significant. Namely, one Mr. Eden Hazard, who came on and just proceeded to dismantle Liverpool from jump, and you could tell the whole game changed when he came on, which was what really excited everybody for the matchup of the weekend, which would be him against Mo Salah.
One of my favorite Kobe Bryant highlights is from a preseason game. So,
boom. There you go.
So, like, this crossover that he pulled on Mourinho in the EFL Cup was sick. But,
Mourinho?
Moreno. Mourinho. I wish he pulled one on him, too. He pulled a vicious crossover on Jose.
Yeah. Like Hazard did some Kobe Bryant on that play, too. First of all, on the EFL Cup, he took the ball at about midfield, proceeded to first nutmeg good boy Bobby Firmino, and then played a 1-2, got the ball back, and then nutmegged Moreno, and then went down and dunked it on the goalkeeper, who wasn't Allison at the time. It was Mignolet. Yep. But still, I don't think anybody could have done anything about that shot.
Hazard picks up where he left off in this game, scoring in the 25th minute.
Yes, and also it was well taken. Kovacic with the through pass, and Hazard just the first half, Chelsea was clearly the better team, and in the second half, Liverpool really started coming into the game. I didn't understand Klopp's team selection, especially in the midfield, because
Naby
Keita was benched, and he came in, I think, at the time when Chelsea had already taken a hold of the grip of the game in the midfield. Kovacic, Kante was allowed to be wherever he wants, because these three midfielders that they have are a non-threat on offense. You know what I'm saying? So he could go chase down whoever he wanted, and they couldn't really make them pay. And Gini Wijnaldum, James Milner, and Jordan Henderson,
yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired.
You needed an artist, and you brought a bunch of painters.
And you went out, and you went out, and you brought Keita in, and you brought fucking Fabinho in, and why exactly does he not play them then?
I mean, I understand the Fabinho. He made his first entrance for Liverpool in the cup game over the midweek, and he had actually a pretty bad game, and everybody's kind of giving him a hard time, mostly because Liverpool fans don't want to ever admit Klopp is wrong. So the bad half of football, they're like, you see, this is what I mean. He doesn't understand. It's like, yeah, he's not fit. He's not game fit because he's been sitting
forever
off the squad, But Keita, since they got him, has been an integral part and has really taken over in midfield. Very underrated. Even though he's not like Virgil van Dijk's transformation of the defense, he's doing a lot in midfield to make it a dynamic midfield, and I didn't understand why he wouldn't play.
And we watched this game, and you kept asking for him, and as soon as he came on, he changed. Yeah. They had immediately way more control in midfield than they had all game.
Yeah, in the second half, they actually had more possession. In the first half, it was pretty even. Chelsea had a slight edge with 51%. But in the second half, Liverpool, once they brought him in, they had more. The possession was impactful. They looked like they had direction. Whereas with Wijnaldum and them, they're going around chasing the ball, but they don't have much idea what to do with it. And you have to get rid of the ball quickly when you're playing against Kovacic, Kante, and Jorginho, because those guys are going to get at you.
So are we looking at a scenario where last year the magnificence of Mo Salah just camouflaged all this?
Mo Salah started off last year in a very similar vein as he started off this year. He kind of got hot, but if you remember, we were laughing about his shots per game and how he was never on target early in the season.
Yep.
Maybe he goes on vacation with Luis Suarez. We do not know. You heard it here first, the Driving for Glory. They have a halal vacation together. You can't bite me. I'm Muslim. It's halal.
Is Chiellini considered halal?
Yes.
Kosher Chiellini.
But Mo Salah has been off, but I did not understand that was the thing. In addition to not starting Keita, which I thought was a clear mistake, and sometimes a case of coaches overthinking the situation, which, especially after their win over PSG in the first Champions League game, you would want to play him against the Chelsea in the league, and then you could rest him in the second Champions League game. You know what I'm saying?
Which is another tough one. But
it's a tough one, but you can't play him in every game. But
yeah.
If you have to make the choice, since you have a little advantage, you have leeway here, Whereas Man City is chasing their asses hard with a goal difference that's getting wider by the week, and you have to finish ahead of Man City. A tie, this is how good the team is that if they tie you, they're always going to be the champion. So anyways, after about 67th or whatever minute, he makes a substitution of Mo Salah coming off.
Brings on Shaqiri.
Who was working hard. Who, after he came on, was putting in a shift. But I thought in that particular game, out of the forward line, Mo Salah was not particularly worse than any of the rest. In fact, I thought that Mane was back at his erratic best, the way he was when he kicked Ederson in his face last year. He was in that kind of mindset.
And I felt like Mane was totally, like you said, manic Mane. Yeah. Just another manic Mane.
Yeah, yes.
Good one. Anyway.
And then the other thing about Mane is that Jurgen Klopp, Africans need rest too. You rotate all these people.
But he does not rotate.
Mane is always playing. It's we're gonna play this against my friend's team next Thursday. Mane, come on. Give him some time, because he clearly looks exhausted over the past few weeks. And Roberto Firmino, because the midfield was lost, couldn't cause the havoc that he does with his runs when Mo Salah has the ball. And Shaqiri came on. He did some running, but This game's biggest indication was that if Chelsea had a striker, they would be much, much, much closer to a championship contender.
Yeah,
like,
strikers.
They would have finished this
tired
game off like early.
And
they dominated them.
So to bring up our conversation from last week about Chelsea being a year off, I didn't feel that way. I would say after this game, I would have to feel more that way. After watching both these games, but then I looked a little deeper and I looked at the subs that Chelsea made, and I'm not saying that Liverpool's the deepest team. Chelsea is suffering when you talk about depth and when you talk about who they were able to bring in to affect the game.
I could agree, but the last week, the biggest issue of discussion we had was that you thought the gap between Chelsea and Liverpool was huge, in Liverpool's advantage. Do you stand by that, is my question.
No, it's not huge.
Okay, but you still think that Liverpool is the better of the two teams?
I do.
Okay. That is about what we were starting off at last week, so I can accept that. But that being said, I do not think Liverpool had the better subs because they benched the wrong player.
Yeah, that was the other thought I had. I looked at it.
If you had Jordan Henderson instead of Keita on the bench, then it's like Shaqiri and Daniel Sturridge were just gambles. They're like Sturridge is overall a failure over his career.
Yeah.
That could have been something that never made it. And he brought him in. He made one move in 4 minutes. He was the last throw of the dice guy. It's like when you put up your goalkeeper in a last ditch corner. If he scores it, does it mean that you knew that was your offensive play? Like, you know what I'm saying?
But no matter what, you still look at Liverpool front three and what they're able to bring in with Sturridge. And, I mean, they just have more goal-scoring capability than Chelsea as a whole.
I think that Pedro's return
will
take a big chunk out of it, and I think that Hazard is clearly by far the best player on both teams. And that covers a lot.
No debate.
They have hold up. I actually have to give you some stats about this dude, man. Like, even though people understand how badass Eden Hazard is, this is his stats against the top 6 teams. Liverpool FC, 6 goals, 2 assists. Versus Manchester United FC, 5 goals, 5 assists. Spurs, 5 goals, 3 assists. Arsenal, 5 goals, 3 assists. Manchester City, 4 goals, 5 assists. This guy is a motherfucking baller.
He's the anti-Lukaku, apparently.
Yes, he's from the opposite side of Belgium.
Belgium, yes. That is pretty much how that looks. As mentioned, Sturridge comes on 86th minute, wonderful fucking goal in the 89th minute to steal the point for Liverpool, remain undefeated. They fall to second to City on goal difference, as you mentioned. Chelsea keep pace. They're only 2 points back. Still undefeated as well. 2 draws. Man of the match for you.
Eden Hazard.
I mean, he was a beast.
They would not play even as far back as they did if Hazard was not in that game. Liverpool would be down there.
They definitely showed respect.
Even in terms of how much impact he had on the defensive and offensive game plan of Liverpool, because they couldn't start their offense the way they want to because they have to stay back and watch his ass.
I just want to shout out both of the center backs. I questioned Luiz's selection during the game.
He fucked up a few times. They just didn't take advantage.
He played
but
good,
he
though.
gave away a couple of balls in the first half that could have ended up being punished. It was Mane fucked up on one of them. In fact, I had serious doubts about his existence because he doesn't give you a full game. And that was even our boy Neb, Chelsea fan, big shout. That's his complaint, is that he plays well. The problem with Luis is that he has that one moment. So yeah, the statistics are going to look nice, but every week you have to know that there's that one moment coming. So if it's a 1-0 game, it's going to be a Luis fuck up.
But that's based on
how he's been his whole career.
But we're talking about this game. And
he did give a fucking back pass that didn't get taken advantage of. Though.
It didn't happen. It didn't get taken advantage of. The mistake wasn't. I mean, a mistake happened. A mistake made. But hey,
I cannot give you credit for somebody else's fuck up. That's what he does usually, and usually gets covered. And then when he does, you jump on it. But you can't all of a sudden be like it didn't exist.
No, but if your argument is that he'll make that one mistake a game, but if it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't hurt you.
I mean, it's a gamble you're willing to take, but
absolutely. But he played.
I don't think they'll play him, and I think that he was the reason that Liverpool had a few chances.
So now, if I can finish what I was saying about the Luis selection. I questioned it from the get-go, and he had way better of a game than I thought he would. And at the end of the
Oh,
day,
you thought he was going to have an absolute disaster, apparently.
that's what I'm used to from Luis. That's
No,
what
I'm just saying,
used to.
like, I expect them to usually give a solid performance and then have one or two fuck-ups in the game. I guess
don't-
that's why
I don't
I'm not
view- yeah, I
surprised
don't-
by this whole thing,
Yeah, I
because
don't
that's
view
what I
him
got.
super favorably. But I thought he played solid defensively, and he did have that one issue. But overall, through the game, he played like twice the player that I thought he was going to play. And I thought Van Dijk was awesome too. I thought both center backs played fucking excellent, and they what do you want to call, anchored their defense, man.
Yeah, I think that the fact that both teams put out defensive midfields helped in that situation, because the chances that were created were not clear cut. A lot of the forwards on both teams were quite isolated, and as a defender, that's your dream. That's how you want to play, guys, is to be isolated and like not running all over the place. It was a very, like, the game once, like, offensively, it wasn't a complex game. And both sets of defenders are good at, like, Rudiger, I thought was amazing in this game. Like, he made that last minute clearance. I thought he really led the team hardcore. Like, I thought Rudiger was, next to Hazard, the best player on Chelsea.
Okay. Last question. Draw a fair result.
Yeah. I don't think that either team did enough to deserve the win, and I don't.
Yeah, my initial impression was, like, I thought Chelsea looked a little better. My initial impression, but then I thought about it, and then, yeah, I think it is
the first half they
a
did,
fair
but then the
fair
second
result.
half, Liverpool, and especially like when you look at it with the support of statistics, in the second half Liverpool did come into it, and even when Chelsea were dominating, without a striker, they're not really a goal threat unless Hazard has it. And right now, Willian is going through his 8 months of shit of the season. At one point, you'll have like 3 games of wonderfulness, but they're playing with one guy on offense, and this other team is playing with 3 guys that can't get the ball because their midfield is beaten. So it was actually surprising that it was such an entertaining game, because they both were handicapped by the coach's selections in terms of offensive options.
Moving along, we have another wonderful matchup in La Liga, and that is the Madrid Derby. Real Madrid hosting Atletico Madrid, and we have another draw here. This one goes pretty much, I would say, according to script.
According to script, indeed.
Exactly what you thought it would be. If somebody said, how is this game going to play out? You know, typically you would say, well, Atletico's going to sit back and play tough fucking defense and hit them on the counter when they can, and Madrid's going to have their chances. And
But Atletico can even give you a press conference that they'll do that. They don't give a It's not a surprise on this. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But the thing about it is that Real Madrid struggled against the Atletico Madrid press a lot in the first half when Gareth Bale was playing. Even though he wasn't the reason behind it, they tried to get a press going against Toni Kroos, and that was really flustering the Madrid team play in the first half, because Luka Modric has had I don't know if anybody has told him that they did not win the World Cup, but he has been celebrating his victorious World Cup, and he's not looking like himself lately. And so the press in the first half really gave them a hard time, and in that time, Thibaut Courtois had a couple of one-on-ones, one with Diego and one with Griezmann, and he came out and he kind of justified his starting spot for the first time. I think this might have been Keylor and Thibaut Courtois' best game in a Madrid jersey so far, and he really saved them on those 2 things. Now what happened was, at halftime, Gareth Bale pulls up, so they replace him properly, because what everybody expected was that they would bring in like for like Lucas Vazquez, which makes sense. But by bringing in Dani Ceballos instead and filling up the midfield, and Dani Ceballos having a decent enough fucking half to where they couldn't press Toni Kroos anymore, then the game started coming towards Madrid's advantage in the second half. They still couldn't make it. Like, now that they've lost Ronaldo, when Gareth Bale comes off the field, it's a big fucking loss, especially against a team like Atletico, where they have Jimenez and Godin in the middle. Mm-hmm. But they got a hold of the game in the second half. It looked like, just like kind of like the Chelsea and Liverpool game, it seemed like a game of 2 halves, where Atletico really put the pressure on them in the first half. They couldn't make their chances count. Real got a hold of the game in the second half, but they didn't get big chances.
Both keepers had great saves in this game. Which you would expect on a 0-0 draw between these two teams.
Jan Oblak might be the most underrated player in European football right now.
Well, as the Klopp said, man, you should have heard how much they were asking for Oblak.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Like, I mean, anybody that knows football, like, intimately and, like, really watches it knows about Jan Oblak. But, like, as a casual fan, like, they don't get it. And he's the real deal. Like, Ter Stegen is there. Thibaut Courtois is there. But in a one-off game, if you had to pick one guy, I would go with Jan Oblak from the league.
What is he, like 26 or something?
Something like that.
Mid-20s?
Yeah.
So he has another 10 years on him.
Dude, he can ball, too.
Yeah.
Seeing YouTube videos of him dunking and shit.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah. Dude, don't play, man.
Jan.
You know the Serbians fucking play ball like a motherfucker down there.
Jan. This is good for Atletico, a point away at Real.
They're one of the only teams that actually enjoys playing at the Bernabeu now. It's funny because for the longest in their history, Atletico would give Barcelona a hard time, but they would always lay down and lose to Real Madrid. Now they actually have a winning streak at the Bernabeu. So like, I think 3 or 4 games straight they've beaten. I mean, they've not a winning streak, but
no loss
streak there. And the last time this happened was like ages ago, like in the 40s.
Mm-hmm. So Madrid are now tied up top with Barcelona. Atleti 2 points back of both of them. Atletico, after that slow start, seemed like they've gotten it going. Madrid seem like they're sputtering a bit. We will touch on that a bit later. Atletico, man of the match.
Wasn't really
It's one of the
goalkeepers. I'd say Thibaut Courtois because that first half, especially the Griezmann save, I thought that was a goal. Like for sure. And the Diego one, I have the opinion of Diego that you have of David Luiz. I always expect very little of him, so I didn't really think it was a disaster when he missed. But Griezmann, that was an excellent stop. So Thibaut Courtois.
With that, so
I think we might lose a couple of followers because of that man of the match because we know too many Chelsea fans and they won't be happy.
Yeah. That Kepa the keeper was nice too. Got to give that up.
Kepa had a really good game, and which is awesome because we'll get to it later. His backup is killing it. Has already made Barcelona and Real Madrid lose points this season.
Mm-hmm. Word up. Moving along to our Bundesliga game of the week, which we are going to look at as Bayer Leverkusen hosting Borussia Dortmund. 6 goals in this game.
I keep saying game of 2 halves. I don't know if it makes sense. But like this motherfucker, I'm not bullshitting because it went to 2-0 and the team with the 2-0 lead lost in the second half. So I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it was. Backline for Dortmund was just like comical in the first half. Like both goals by Leverkusen were scored by defenders. Yeah.
Aerial issues and defending set pieces are an issue from last year, but they got Brett Favre to solve their problems.
Brett Favre?
Sorry, Julian Favre.
Favre.
It's spelled the same.
It is.
It's spelled Favre.
There it is. So,
but the team is catching on, but they still have leftover issues from the defense wasn't that confident. Axel Witsel and them are taking over in the midfield, but they gave up a couple of goals, but they came back in beautiful fashion, like scoring goals that were ultimate team play goals.
So they brought on Jadon Sancho for Pulisic, and they brought Jadon Sancho and Tupaco Alcacer, our boy from Barcelona. Alcacer?
Actually, if you want to really get into it, it's Alcacer.
God damn it. That's bullshit.
It is, I know.
TH in there.
Apparently, when you squiggle a C, it becomes a TH.
But they come on, 65th minute, this game is still 2-0.
Yep.
And, 2 goals in 4 minutes brought that even at the 65th minute.
Yes, the guy with a very cool-sounding name, Jakob Brun Larsen, scored the first goal. And then Marco Reus assisted by... Funnily enough, Christian Pulisic assisted the first goal. Came off in the 68th minute. Bruno Larson just scores an individual goal. Jadon Sancho, a minute after coming on, assisted on the goal.
Yep.
To Marco Reus. And then...
beautiful too.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful finish.
It was a
on
beautiful team worked game, and then Marco Reus finished it wonderfully. And then it almost feels like I don't know why, but Leon Bailey just comes on in the 70th minute, and I think he's a bit of a prima donna winger, and like he has to be put in his place every once in a while. That's why they bench him, but. It was already by that point they had completely lost momentum, and Paco Alcácer, and then later him again in the 85th and 90th minute injury time finished him off.
That 85th minute goal though was sick.
It was sick, and it also just deflated the fuck.
Yeah, that was it. Because it's a game at that point.
Yeah.
Like it's 3-2.
It wasn't
2-2.
even like it didn't deflate. It deflated the Metroplex of Leverkusen. Like the whole area. It was just like. Whew.
Yeah, it was a beautiful cross, and he caught it and kind of like backflicked it or some shit.
Again, assisted by
Sancho?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, ball out.
And then in the middle one, the third goal, Paco Alcácer gets assisted by Achraf Hakimi.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, that's the third goal.
That's the third goal. The fourth goal is the one where Sancho hits like the long pass, which is a beautiful pass.
He taps it in a bit. It's the run more than what he does. That day, yeah.
Yep.
But Achraf Hakimi is also on loan from Real Madrid. Dortmund is looking really, really good, and the Lucien Favre era is looking like it's going off nicely.
Yeah. So with that being said, BVB is at the top of the fucking table, and we will explain why a little bit later. Leverkusen sitting at 14th.
Funny story. They were at the top of the table last season too.
They were after about 6 or 7 games, weren't they?
And then it just came completely undone because their coach didn't know anything about defense, remember?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
After that 4-4 against Schalke.
That 4-4. Leverkusen 14th with 4 losses already. Your man of the match.
I have to, with apologies to Christian Pulisic for starting the comeback, I would have to give it to Jadon Sancho because he really has been spectacular. He has 5 assists this season and has not started a single game.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody's going to get more time.
Basically.
Yeah, balled out. I got the same thing. Moving along to Dabut. I don't know, man. Italy. We're going to go to Serie A, and we're going to look at the big match there, 1 versus 2. Last year's 1 versus 2, usually a big game. Juventus hosting Napoli.
Napoli is fast looking like Italy's version of what?
Tottenham?
Yeah!
That was not planned, folks.
We did not script that. But yeah, they'll either win the big game and lose the one right after it, or not show up for the big game, or just get. It felt like Allegri was like, "Come on, lads, it's Napoli." The way Alex Ferguson is to be like, "Come on, lads, it's Spurs."
Just stun them, yeah. But they actually went up in this game. Dr. Dries opens it up in the 10th minute. Awful back pass by Bonucci, but a wonderful assist by Callejón. Nice finish, Dr. Dries.
Yes, Dr. Dries has been doing his thing, but it's in the back
not
that
enough,
they haven't really that midfield without Jorginho doesn't have much direction, so he's not getting the kind of service he's doing. Like, if you look at the number of passes they used to have before and now, it's so much lower that you have to be very accurate. And Ancelotti is not known for intricate building of game plans. So we'll see how this team reacts, because Dries Mertens was moved out of position by Sarri's genius, and recreated as a player. And now he doesn't have that guy. Outside of Sarri managing him, he's had a very regular career.
Yeah. Well, a guy who has not had a regular career, who is the antithesis of everything stays in Vegas, is Ronaldo, and he just ran through them this game, dude. Hella active, involved in all 3 goals.
Yes, he was feeling quite frisky, some might say.
Very much so. The first one was a wonderful cross to Mandzukic to bring them even.
I have to say, Mandzukic makes people's crosses look nice too, because he will fight for every fucking ball, dude. That guy,
Yeah.
like, he's like
Huge
a better
Croatian
Marwan
dude.
Fellaini.
More attacking, new.
But, like, just ready to, like, just get in there and just...
yeah, no, he's
Balls in the air, like, he always causes havoc. And you watched it in Champions League, especially to the big clubs that have those really amazing defenders that are good at dribbling and stuff. He'll fucking come at you.
Yeah.
He'll give you that fucking treatment.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He scored the second goal, too, which was off of a wonderful Ronaldo attempt that was saved and pushed right into his Mandzukic's path.
Yes. In the midweek, did you see Ronaldo getting pissed off when the pass went to Matuidi? And Matuidi actually scored it. Like
There's
before,
nothing-
but like
there's
it was
nothing new
in
here.
play. Like they were trying to make a big deal out of it, but like it was in play, and they didn't make the pass to him, and he kind of just like threw his hands up and like did his little tantrum. While he was doing that, the play kept on, and it went in the goal. But because he's Ronaldo, the camera followed him.
Yeah, of course.
So that did not look good.
Of course. And then Napoli come undone. Red card. Foul on Dybala.
Yes, that's the thing. Last year it was Koulibaly, if you remember, like the game after this. Like this year's Marco Rui. Like, I don't know if they understand the seriousness of the situation and like the concentration and the dominance of Juventus is in that they know like the game is how long and they're ready to go at it. Whether it's beautiful football or a fight, whatever you want, they're going to do it for 90 minutes.
Yep. And the prodigal son, Leonardo Bonucci, kills the game off. Again, Ronaldo attempt on a header. And that's a wrap. And Juventus is now 6 points up on Napoli.
Who is in second place, it has to be said. Like some leagues, when you're 6 points up on somebody, there's like 4 teams between you, like in England.
Yeah.
Here it's like 6 points, but that's second place.
And there's just like, I get zero feeling that they have the capability of producing anything consistent enough to mount a charge towards Napoli or towards Juventus.
Here's a statement that will give you what I think in a nutshell. I think that Borussia Dortmund have a better chance this season of being champion of Germany than Napoli have of being champion of Italy. And that's saying a lot because Bayern Munich is hugely dominant in that league, you know what I'm saying? But
True.
But I think that Napoli is way further from Juventus than they were last year. Juventus got better, they got worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to work out.
That is the 8 out of 8 for Juventus. Man of the match.
Mario Mandzukic.
Yeah, I got Ronaldo.
Of course you do. Like, the guy scored 2 goals in a game that Ronaldo played in. Like, I gotta give it to him. He's not gonna get that chance again. Like, if you're giving Ronaldo man of the match on the games,
2 assists.
I got you. I mean, there's always a reason for it. There's always a reason for it. But if you're giving it to him on the games he's not dominating, then Juventus guys will never get the fucking player of the match for their games, it means.
Oh, I'm a City fan. I'm about oligarchy, son. What you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then on the games
Keep
that he
it going.
scores, he's definitely going to be man of the match.
Maybe. Yeah, man. That was our back 4. We're gonna kick it on up to the midfield. Let them connect with our forwards. Yeah. All right. Doing what we normally do here. We're going to do an EPL review for you. Get it started Saturday morning with our... Oh, good Lord. This is a fucking broken record. West Ham hosting United.
No. It's not a broken record. A broken record is something that is doing the same thing. This is regressing, so it's not a broken record. Because he is putting out teams that are more and more hilarious by the week, and this person is...
Jose Mourinho.
Yes. And guess who made the most awaited comeback of all time this week?
Who was that?
Scott McTominay. McTominay is back in the house. He's not even in midfield embarrassing Pogba anymore.
Not even.
He's in defense now because he's used to show how bad Eric Bailly and them are. He's a guy that is used to show how bad other people are.
He ran 5 back basically against West Ham
and got 3 scored on it.
This is awful, man.
And could have been way worse. It was, if that game went on, West Ham was, he basically put out a team that was meant to either win or make Paul Pogba look like the most
built
shittiest of all time.
And then you take out Pogba for Fred in the 70th minute.
Oh yeah, all of Twitter was waiting on him like, oh, he's so itching to take him out. And then he brings in Fred, and he had him supported by some fucking nobodies even when he was on in terms of offense, and throw in the usual Lukakuing, and
it was a mystery formation. It was a mystery lineup. It just ugh.
You know what it was? It was the lineup of a guy that's trying to get a payout.
Yeah, and he's gonna get it.
He's gonna get it. And every week is gonna get more and more ridiculous. There might be some bumps where they win and then whatever. You know what? Like, he just did a press conference about the Valencia game where in 29 minutes not a single Valencia question was asked.
Wow. Yeah. I can't. I just,
how as a sporting establishment are you like? Are you having this kind of like a coach like taking so much of the thing that like is not even about football anymore?
So I just don't understand. Maybe I do. We talked about Ed Woodward being an issue here, but like this is a no-brainer. This is just a matter of time, because outside of him turning around and winning 15 games in a row or going undefeated for 15 games or whatever, like this is not a turnaroundable situation at the moment.
So today is the beginning of a new fiscal year.
For in football?
And in most business, end of September is the fiscal year end.
Okay.
So maybe they don't want the books to look bad for them. No, because I'm serious here. You think it's a joke, but what Ed Woodward sells to the board is his ability to make money. A lot of money, and he does that. He comes through on that. He gets them the deals, and they're a profitable enterprise. Now, if you fire this guy, out of whatever he does, there's going to be 15 million a year for the next 3 years or something pounds that is going to just go off the books. And maybe he's just waiting until the new fiscal year.
What's the possibility they actually let Woodward go?
Apparently they really like him, and they're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like,
do they have? I was gonna say, do they have secret Spurs fans running United now or something? Have they infiltrated like the Sith and the fucking Jedi or some shit?
Maybe they're gonna replace Mourinho with Warren Sapp.
He would do better. He would do better. He would have to do better. New manager syndrome.
He'd sure of that defense.
Man, who you telling? 3-1 West Ham with 7 points out of the last available 9.
Felipe Anderson.
And
Arnautovic looking good, but Yarmolenko has been a phenomenal purchase from Russia.
Man, shout out to Pellegrini.
Yes. Sheikh Mansour went to Spain in a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Newcastle hosting Leicester. Newcastle, hey man, you had a tough run. You got to do something here. You got to fucking beat somebody.
And the team without the striker is the team you beat. Newcastle is a very, very solid team, but like sorry for all these American idioms today, but like a team with Alex Smith as their quarterback, they can't let you get ahead because they can't catch you without a striker. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Big shouts for Eskins fans. Your team is going to lose with Alex Smith. Anyways.
0-2-5, man, on Newcastle. Leicester get those points. They're sitting 7th, where, I don't know, you kind of feel like they belong.
I think they're going to finish around halfway.
Yeah.
They're going to have decent games, and they're going to have really shitty games.
Yep.
Their defense is the issue, and if Leicester and Newcastle would merge, that would be a really nice team.
Yes. Arsenal hosting Watford. Arsenal quietly on a 5-game win streak here. Very unnoticed. Like it's not impressive.
Because it's not impressive, and B, it's not unprecedented that Arsenal loses the fucking big games and then goes around and mows a couple of guys and gets closer to the summit, and then they get hit again. Like, this is how, I don't know, it's like their season is a bunch of jabs, and then every once in a while they get uppercutted, you know?
My Arsenal my Arsenal informant was like, after the game, was like, I have no idea how Arsenal won that game.
Everybody that I know is watching it, they're like, that complete. Like, even in the notes here, it says, I wrote, Arsenal take the points, though outplayed against a side whose style Arsenal struggles with. Mm-hmm. This is New Age Bolton. This is New Age Stoke City. This is physical football. Watford in the house. Troy Deeney and shit. Mm-hmm. And Arsenal, they've never had the balls for that kind of battle. And
never.
To me, even though they got completely dominated, I thought it was a big 3 points that they got, because this is exactly the kind of team that can fuck them up.
Yep, agreed. Manchester City hosting Brighton 2-0 City. Only 2-0?
Just another dead Brighton, actually, considering that they received an early goal from Sturridge, actually did pretty good in holding them. From Sterling, did pretty fucking good in holding them and like not letting it get out of hand. Like, you've seen a lot of the other small teams, like, it gets out of hand, but like they represented themselves quite well. And the Aguero goal with the Sterling 1-2 was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that was vicious. He did him in. Huddersfield hosting Tottenham 2-0 Tottenham.
Harry Header, Harry Piqué.
Huh?
Done and dusted.
Harry Header and the Deathly Hallows. Wolves 2-0 over Southie.
Wolves, after all the purchases and change that they had from last season to this, is coming together, and I think that Wolves is actually right there. They're going to finish in a battle with like Everton and them for that spot right behind Arsenal and Manchester United and them, who I think Manchester United, whether they fire the coach or not, have enough talent to every once in a while. There's a lot of teams in the Premier League that can't score, and they'll beat those teams.
Mm-hmm. Everton 3-0 over Fulham. This confounding Everton to me. This is a team that got ran out by West Ham, and then they show up and wax a Fulham team that we've been kind of, excited about in a way.
West Ham was desperate for the points, and they talked about before that game they had a big fight in the dressing room and and attitude changed, and they chased it way harder than Everton did at the time, so I wasn't surprised that they lost. But Everton starts the season erratically every fucking year. Every fucking season, it doesn't matter. They start off their season erratically, and the 3-0 over Fulham was just what the doctor ordered, because they got a newly promoted team that doesn't play a lot of defense to come and play against their team who's trying to execute some counters on you. It worked for them,
Yeah.
It was a good medicine for what was ailing them.
Sunday, we already covered one of the games in Cardiff. Did we? That was the Sunday game. That was a Saturday game. There was only one game on Sunday. I'm used to be there being two.
You didn't say anything about it, though.
No, it was the Liverpool game.
No. That was a Saturday game.
I know that. No. I was saying, I was thinking.
There was a game yesterday.
I thought there was two games on Sunday.
Oh,
that's what I was saying. No, the one game on Sunday, Cardiff B hosting Burnley. Burnley with the 2-1. Yeah. Need those 3 points.
Cardiff B looking like Cardiff D, homie. They're
going down.
They don't have a point yet, do they?
No,
they're not even trying for a point, I don't think.
Yeah, they got 2 points.
Okay, so they don't have a win yet. Sorry,
2 draws, no win. Yeah, man. And then Bournemouth hosting Crystal Palace is 1-1 in the 76th minute as we speak.
Who scored?
We'll see. David Brooks in the 5th minute and Patrick Van Aanholt in the 55th minute. Trey 5. Little Trey 5 there. Moving along. Rest of Europe, our other leagues, starting with La Liga, and all our other leagues, with the exception of Ligue 1, played midweek games. So there are multiple results to talk about here. We're gonna walk through them more or less hand in hand, and talk about Barcelona's 2 results. A loss midweek to Leganes 2-1, and a draw 1-1 to Bilbao.
With Bilbao.
What's going on?
It's not a draw to Bilbao. It's a draw with Bilbao.
A draw with. Okay.
But anyways, more worrying in the beginning of this week was that Samuel Titi was feared out for multiple months, and it's found that it's actually a less major injury than that.
Good.
So he'll be out less. But this past week was a story of basically rotations, and how rotations sometimes don't fucking... Like, rotating your squad is a very delicate art. So, and a lot of people this past week completely didn't know how to do it. Is this disappointing to you as a Barcelona guy? Is this disappointing? I mean, like, obviously you lost and you drew, but I mean, from, like, they should have, we felt like this was a deeper team this year, that they should be able to rotate. I think that, like, the players that they're bringing in too many of the new players at the same time and stuff, so it's a work in progress. I'd rather they look better later in the year, but among things that I'm disappointed in is that Malcolm is like not even on squads.
Yeah.
Apparently
Why'd you even do it?
Doesn't even want him for tomorrow's Champions League game. He has 2 Barcelona B players and no Malcolm. Like, that's how much like disrespect that is. So I'm like, I'm not understanding it in the preseason, which I know it doesn't mean a lot, but when he played, he was very comfortable with the team.
It's weird.
He worked well with Luis Suarez, and Dembele, he's done enough to be a starter, but he hasn't done enough to be a 90-minute player, and it would have been nice to have Malcolm, but...
Just see what the kid can do. Kid's young.
And then in that game, they basically... With the new midfield, they gave it up and they lost. But they had a red card in the game because your boy swung an elbow.
Who?
Lenglet?
That's right. That was last week. It's an awful week for Barcelona.
So
really.
The coach has moved Sergio Roberto, Philippe Coutinho, Ousmane Dembele, Busquets. All of these players out of position. Mm-hmm. And, like...
Why?
Especially when we have... Like, I understand some seasons, but this is the one season when you have 2, sometimes even 3 players for each position. Like, the left side of attack has been imbalanced if either Dembele or Coutinho are not around there. And Coutinho likes to get the ball and cut inside. Dembele does too, but they stretch it with Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba loves this new football because he's bombing down, right? So, in this game against Athletic, they played Dembele on the right and Coutinho as a winger on the other side. And they couldn't get any fucking service, and the game was not stretched like Barca likes to do it. And on both cases, it seems like he wants to rotate, and that's all he cares about. I think he looks at it like it's okay if I lose, and I'm like, you need to work out a way where you rotate your squad and get points, Fox.
And get points. Got to get them.
They got really lucky, though.
And they have been really lucky, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to bring up the weekend result first, that Sevilla put 3-1 on Eibar, but more importantly, they put 3-0 on Real Madrid in midweek.
In the first half. In like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Took all them points. So Sevilla's with the slow start and have just been on a tear since.
Yeah. The full-on go offense is killing it, and Sarabia, fucking Ben Yedder. His name's not fucking Ben Yedder, it's Hatem Ben Yedder, but...
You sure made it sound like it.
It's Hatem. No, sorry, it's Wissam. Hatem is Ben Arfa. Wissam Ben Yedder.
I like fuck him.
Okay. I mean, that's what he's been doing. He's been fucking them. Fuck him, Ben Yedder.
Oh, shit.
And with Ever Banega in the midfield, it's like they don't even miss Steven and Zonzi, man. They're just balling out, and the offensive style, it's almost like a club team. They just go, and they're coming after you, and they have a lot of talented guys. And I think that this year, Sevilla might challenge Atletico Madrid and make it like a bit more active in the top four.
So I guess by that comment, I would guess I know your answer here. But looking at, it's obviously early, but there's a glut at the top at the moment. And you look at a week where Real Madrid loses, draws, Barcelona draws, loses. Is there an opening here? Can somebody sneak it this year?
It's way too early to say, and a lot of the teams like Sevilla and Valencia have zero depth. So, Sevilla went on a little tear, so you think that a striker that couldn't play for Milan is going to take them over the Madrid, Atletico, and Barca?
Any logic? No, but, from a...
I think that
Atleti could sneak them?
It depends on their Europe situation, but yeah, they can. I think that Atletico is a very good team this year. They're much more. They have depth. They added Gelson and they added Lamar. Who would have thought that guy, when we saw him at Monaco, to be like such an artistic guy, would come and be one of the fastest to adjust to Diego Simeone's system we have. Free agents don't make it in Diego Simeone's system.
Mm-hmm. That's why they don't really sign a lot of it.
That's what I'm saying. And this guy came in and he's been spectacular for them.
Yeah. Speaking of Valencia, they went to Sociedad and got a 1-0, much needed because they were just doing a bunch of draws. Their first win of the season. Betis with 2 wins over this week, one over Girona, one over Leganes, both 1-0. That puts them in the top 5. And also want to mention Valladolid. Yes, with 2 wins here, 2-1 over Levante and a 1-0 over Villarreal. And they are one of the newly promoted teams, the team that had the complaints from Barcelona in the opening game, right? About how shitty their field was.
Yes, you know who? Let me give you an interesting tidbit. So Villarreal this summer spent 73.5 million euros on new players. Remember Faz Ronaldo?
Yeah.
He paid 30 million to become the majority stakeholder and president of Real Valladolid.
Yep.
This weekend, Ronaldo's 30 million beat Villarreal 73 million.
Mm-hmm. That's how it goes.
And
Valladolid. And they are actually in the top half of the table right now. Early, though, 7 games in.
They're doing really good. I think the Ronaldo investment is really going to help. And as long as they finish like a decent number, they're going to get so much through association with him that's going to be the best 30 million he's ever fucking invested. It's going to be 100 mil before this year ends, man.
Anything else, La Liga, you want to mention?
Not really. You covered all.
Word. Serie A. Also playing midweek games. Have to mention Inter rebounding here with a 2-1 over Fiorentina and a 2-0 over Cagliari.
Yes, the 2-1 against Fiorentina was entertaining. It was controversial. It had everything. It was one of the most fun games.
One of those good Italian games.
Yep.
Word up. Inter picking up steam a little bit. Also,
they look like they have actually practiced with each other for a few weeks now.
Yeah, nice.
Who would have thought that helps?
Another team that had a shitty beginning to the season and came along this week is Roma. With a 4-0 over Frosinone and a 3-1 over Lazio, which was a really good victory for them.
The Lazio game
that was a fun game.
Yeah, and they kind of, you could tell which of the teams is doing better on their derbies. This is one of the few derbies that's actually very reflective of where they stand. You know what I'm saying? It's like usually in derby games there's upsets. In Roma, Napoli, in Roma, Lazio, whoever's having the best season wins.
Mm-hmm.
And Roma showed that like Lazio with their shit wage packet cannot rank with them on a day to day.
The battle, it looks like the European battle for Serie A is going to be awesome this year. There's a whole glut of teams that are about 3 points apart after Napoli. It looks to be should be fun this year. Continuing on, Milan with the 1-1 draw to Empoli. And Sassuolo got drilled by Milan 4-1. And Sassuolo's been playing good this year.
in the game that Suso scored a wonder goal. Steven, Casey went the whole fucking length of the field and scored another goal. And Suso, like they just.
Oh, you didn't even shout out Andre Silva.
Oh yeah.
For Sevilla.
Big shout out to Andre Silva, who is actually one of the top scorers in all of Europe after managing, one goal for AC Milan last year or something like that. He now has 6 before October even started.
And last one, Fiorentina 2-0 over Atalanta. Fiorentina sits third in the table right now. Any chance they could sneak a top 4?
Yeah, but it depends on if they keep their forwards. They have a good young forward, Chiesa, whose dad was also a Serie A player back in the day. And if they manage to keep a couple of their younger guys, they will be contending for top 4. But look at Torino. And when you look at Torino, look at their striker. They have this Polish kid that has had the fastest start in like Italian league history, playing up front, Piasek or something. And yeah, you should check that out.
Last shout out for Serie A from me goes to Parma, profiled last week. Gervinho with the motherfucking the goal in a 1-0 win. They sit up there at 10 points already.
Yeah, man. I hope they stay up. I like seeing that jersey. It reminds me of the good old days, and it's like a fucking difference. So keep it up, Parma. They're rooting for you. Diving for glory is a fun. Gervinho, give us a dive.
Holla. All right, Bundesliga. We move along. Also midweek games here, and in keeping with our Giants sputtering here theme, Bayern takes a loss and a draw this week.
Remember at the beginning of the season, I said the post-World Cup year is a lot of times when the big-name players struggle, and that a lot of the big teams are struggling because they're the ones that send the most international players. So they look like their season. Like some games you talk about like tiredness and fatigue, and I'm like, these are professionals, and I'm like, shit, they haven't fucking not played for like 3 straight years. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like it catches up. So.
Ask you the same question here. Is there a potential that Bayern? I know I keep revisiting it, but thinking about it now, can Bayern get caught?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, change that. Okay. They look old and they're injured like shit. They got a lot of injuries.
I don't know how much control the guy has over the team. When was it, in midweek or something? Arjen Robben came off and he was chastising the coach. Like, he looks clearly unhappy. And then Thomas Muller, his form keeps dipping. We'll see how that goes. James Rodriguez is not covering for them the way he was last season. He's balling, he's fine, but like the second half of last season especially, he was really
we gave him Bundesliga Player of the Year.
And so far they look like they're learning under a new coach. You have a new coach but really old players. So you have people set in their way and somebody bringing in change. So I can see them being passed. Whereas at least like when we were talking earlier with Juve, I think that Juve has consistency and they have the same guy, the same, except the one thing that they brought as an addition is something that makes them a plus. So they got further from their competition, whereas Bayern Munich, the competition got closer.
A side note for Juventus, their sporting director basically quit, basically said he was done after the game. The guy who's been responsible for bringing Pogba in on the free, for making the Higuain buy, etc.
Trying to make him some Arab money. He might go somewhere and make some money.
Well, it was interesting because the way that I read it was that he really didn't. The way he sounded was as if he didn't really want to go. Is that Juventus was making a push to bring in some younger blood onto their board to possibly take advantage of the Ronaldo situation. Him being in Juventus, not the Ronaldo situation.
Take advantage of it. That's kind of sick. But AC Milan just hired Arsenal's CEO, whatever, Ivan Gazidis as their director of football. So,
continuing Bundesliga after the Bayern shake-up here, Leipzig turns it around a little bit here with a 2-0 over Stuttgart and a 2-1 over sputtering Hoffenheim.
Well, Leipzig, Jonas Poulsen had a good week for them, but they're gonna be a streaky team. They were last year too, and that's just the style of play. It's the Red Bull style, and they do the no, seriously, like when you were talking about like taking the most shots, and some teams believe that statistically that's the better time. Like they play the most direct football. They go after you. Like that is their philosophy. It's not like RB Leipzig. That's the Red Bull, any fucking team that you have.
Yeah, the Salzburg team.
You know? And then sometimes you might get like fucking double blackhilled by some of your opponents in the Europa Cup, because we saw that, motherfuckers. Y'all got gut.
Whoops. Also, I wanted to bring up the Augsburg 4-1, because any week that you get a draw with Bayern and a 4-1 over anybody is a good week.
Yes, indeed. A great week, some men.
Yeah. Ligue 1. Some interesting results. I just have to do Monaco 2 losses over the week.
Yeah, Monaco coach gonna be in precarious ground soon, but the problem is that everybody kind of wants him, so they can't. They would always have to think twice before firing him, because he's a really good coach.
Yep, and I misspoke earlier because Ligue 1 did have midweek games. PSG with 2 wins, a 4-1 over 4-1 and a 3-0. They beat Nice, and I don't have the other game on me.
Nice away and Reims?
Oh, Stade Reims.
No,
Reims.
Reims, yeah.
Reims.
Not Stade Rennes.
Not
Stade Rennais.
Yeah, it's Reims. Yep, that bubbly. Saint Etienne, I wanted to mention them. They got a 3-2 over Toulouse, because Saint Etienne sits in the top 4 right now. They made top 5
and they got
last
a 2-0
year.
over Monaco, so they had a double win week also.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lyon had a 3-0 drubbing of Dijon, and then a 1-1 draw with Nantes.
Yep. And Lyon is doing their thing, but that's about how it's going to be.
And in somewhat disappointing fashion, or at least in Jekyll and Hyde fashion, Lille fall 1-0 to Bordeaux, but then turn it around with a 3-0 drubbing of Marseille.
Yeah.
And they sit top 4.
Yeah, Marseille's win earlier in the week, which was a 3-2 over Strasbourg, shows you, though, that their defense is really at work. And wasn't it Adil Rami and them are fucking jokes back there, you know what I'm saying? They need to upgrade that. Their offense is spectacular. Thauvin is the league leader, and one of the league leaders in scoring. And they have Valerie Germain, and like their offensive line with your boy Dimitri Payet is really nice, but they need to work on their defense.
PSG sit 8 points clear already. 8 games in. Top 4 reads like PSG, Lille, Montpellier, Saint Etienne. I love that. And then Lyon, Marseille.
Yeah. It would be nice if they were somewhat closer to them. Like, but it's just like the drop off is so big that anything that you read out of their table is just depressing.
I like it, man.
Okay.
We're going to move along. Champions League preview. We're just going to highlight a few games because there's a bunch of games that whatever. So, and we're going to cover it all come Thursday. Preview, I wanted to bring up Hoffenheim City. The City need these 3 points.
You're like the king of justifications.
not,
You
man.
are the king of justifications. What is really
City.
important this week is City. And what we're going to talk about now is City. Well, first off,
not
let's start
true.
with City.
It's not
City,
true.
City.
It's not true. It's not true. But I believe, but
Of course you do.
I looked at this game in the same manner that, the United Valencia game.
You should have started with that one. That's the bigger storyline. City should brush aside Hoffenheim, who's actually struggling in Germany too.
But they took a loss, and Hoffenheim looked good in their first match against Shakhtar. And City has to get all 3 points, I feel
We
like.
have
here.
to talk about City is all I'm getting out of this. Like,
Absolutely.
yes, they have to get 3 points. That was the least interesting
They
one to
need
start with.
3 points.
Like, if
That's
you were
why I
gonna-
started with it.
No.
That's why I started with it.
was a
Because this is the
terrible
least
headline.
interesting one. It's the least interesting one. That's why I started with it. But it was
I hope you
more
never work at a newspaper.
But it was more interesting in every other game than every other game listed that I'm not about to mention. United Valencia.
Spurs, Barca?
It's coming up. I don't want to start there.
No,
Save it
like
to the
there's
end.
so many good games. I thought you would even skip the Hoffenheim City game because it's so in the City's favor. I don't know how they even made it onto this conversation.
And it's away. I don't
because they're
consider it
City,
that.
and you always going to talk
I don't
about
consider
City.
that. I'm the same person
always what it's gonna
who said that the City group was going to be tougher than people thought.
Because you want to talk about
and
the
we're
City.
going to see.
Because you want to talk about City.
All right, well, we'll see. I'm not going to root for my team to draw just to prove you wrong. Go City. Let's go. United Valencia.
Well, it's not City against not City, so it's very interesting.
bullshit, man. We can run the tape. We can run all the tape back. I'm pretty fair in my
reason
coverage.
to talk about them in this Champions League coverage.
My opinion was different.
Napoli, Liverpool, PSV, Inter.
We're getting to
like
that.
so many big games. And like that's the headliner. Come on.
We're getting to that, man. United Valencia. Let's go.
If Valencia wins, Jose Mourinho might be gone.
Draw? Even if it's a draw?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Ed Woodward.
I mean, if it's a draw, you think they'll let him go?
If enough people shout about Ed Woodward being fired, then he'll fire the manager.
So this is the game, though, where the team puts the ball in the middle of the field and then nobody moves?
I don't know. Danny Barreiro can play if they give him the chance. Like, they have players on Valencia that can play. It's just that
United just got a few players that can play.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to. You know what I'm
Valencia
saying? Like,
feels the same way. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, have you watched any of their games though? Like, it's different, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's an organized. Like, it's not by mistake. Like Manchester United, they're getting beaten. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a system of how they play that the guy is implementing. So it looks better. Like, defensive football is not always bad.
So if you had to agree, so if you to predict this game, do you foresee a United?
I foresee a tie.
Dominating possession is what I'm saying.
No.
Like,
I don't think United is going to dominate
50-50
possession
game
in
here.
any game going forward until Mourinho is gone. Wow. Your manager has to believe that the ball is worth having for you to dominate possession.
Yeah, Valencia is just a team that never wins possession, and it would be interesting. I'll check the game out. And as much as I hate watching United, Napoli, Liverpool.
I think that if Napoli can get into it early, this might be the game of the round, because there's a lot of offense to be had, but it's their home game. They better make it count, because I don't think that is going to be that exciting of a game when it's Liverpool against Napoli.
Agreed.
That's Liverpool.
Yeah. If you want to talk about PSV Inter, go ahead. It's not on my list.
I think that PSV Inter is going to be a very, very interesting game. I think that PSV's speed is the one weakness that all Italian teams have is speed, and they can get at them. And I think that PSV will be challenging them to the end. And the Spurs game against PSV is also going to be interesting, because I think that Barca will win that group, but there is going to be a serious fight. I don't see much difference of level on a good game between Inter and PSV at this point of the season, especially at PSV.
Before I bring up Tottenham, Barcelona, are there any other games that you want to touch on for Champions League?
Ronaldo's playing some young boys.
That's an improvement.
We covered most of the big games, but I want to see PSG at Red Star Belgrade. And Bayern against Ajax Amsterdam is very, very intriguing to me, because I think that Ajax Amsterdam might be able to give them a little damage, because Bayern is punch drunk. But if Bayern gets ahead early, they might use Ajax to fucking fix their season. So I'm intrigued by that game.
Did you see the
And
picture?
Germans and Dutch people, like the rivalry is huge. So sorry.
No, you're good. I was just cutting you off. Did you see the picture of Ribery with Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Oh yeah. How does this this Takashi guy needs to go away? How does he keep showing up everywhere, dude?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Purple rainbow hair. Tottenham hosting Barcelona.
Deli Sandwich is not playing.
And somebody else picked up an injury. I'm gonna find out. You talk about the game.
All right. I think it's gonna be, because it's Spurs home game, I think it's gonna be very interesting. And the Barca defense is not dealing very well with aerial attacks, and I think Harry Kane can give him a hard time. But I think that Barca will still beat Spurs
Away.
Just because I would never say Spurs will beat Barca.
At least you acknowledge your bias.
And it's not just for Barca, it's for both. Like, I'm biased against Spurs and for Barca, so
there, you're gonna get some love for that statement right there.
All right.
That was the last game. That's what I wanted to say. Vertonghen went off.
Huh?
Vertonghen went off injured.
Okay. Dortmund, Monaco. offense against a team that looks like they've stalled. So I'm curious to see if Monaco turns it around. Because right now, Dortmund, if you haven't turned it around, they will fuck your shit up.
Yeah, that's why I almost wrote that one, but I was like, Monaco's so shit right now. I'm going to repeat something I said earlier in the season, whether or not you agree with it or not. Like I said, for Tottenham, it's just good for these younger players to have, play against this level of competition, man, in these games, no matter what. I look forward to that matchup.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Champions League.
It's gonna be on. It's gonna be exciting, and I think that even the games we didn't really mention, like to get into, like the Lyon Shakhtar and all of them, is really, really super. Like this season's Champions League is gonna be lit. It looks like everybody's ready for it.
There's good groups. Holla holla to the forwards.
Indeed.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, so in keeping in line with our new formation, we have been profiling teams, lesser known teams from every league. And this week it is League 1's turn. And shout out to Roman, because we are going to cover your squad.
Yes, it is Stade Rennais, also known as Rennes.
Right.
And let's start off by saying, like you said, it's the lesser known team, so we're not going to be bringing you like the contenders in this part of the program. It's guys and teams that you probably don't know about. Rennes is a team from that same city, and Stade Rennais is like saying the team of the Rennais people, I guess. But anyways, Francois Pinot, who's a venture capitalist out of France, bought them in 1998. 1998, and in 2000, his focus being the youth and the development of youth players, opens in 2000 a training center for youth development, and also completely reconstructs their stadium.
Oh, damn. No doubt.
All right, so from then to 2010, between 2000 and 2010, over the 10-year span, they made Europa-sanctioned tournaments 5 out of the 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like they into the Europa, whatever it was, UEFA, whatever. Yep. So he changed it, and the whole style that they do is like they either get loans and stuff, but it's about development and trying to stay afloat in the top division, where their best ever finish is 4th place, which they've done twice since he's bought the team in the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? They reached it in 2004-05 and 2006-07. They finished in 4th place. 2009 and 2014, the same team reaches the Coupe de France final, and they lose. This is interesting because they lose both finals, both of them to Guingamp, who is apparently their rival. But like the first one, they went up to 1-0 and they lost 2-1, and then another game they just lost 2-0 to them. And they're also another rival of theirs is Nantes, who their fans like to stab and shit. So, like, they're doing their thing. But Jimmy Briand, Abdoulaye Doucouré, who now plays for Watford, I think, or West Ham, Luis Fabiano, Ousmane Dembele, Joan Gourcuff, Sylvain Wiltord, ex of Arsenal fame, and Asamoah Gyan, the motherfucker who has killed many African hearts in the World Cup. These are all ex-Rennes player, and they imagine Peter Cech. You just read that name. He's from there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Last year, under the watch of Johan Gourcuff's father, Christian Gourcuff, as manager, they finished 5th and got a UEFA spot. Now, Sabri Lamouchi is their fucking coach. They're right now, they're in 16th place with a 2-2-4 record. Check out their boy Ismail Assar. He's a motherfucking star. They misspelled his name. Called him Star, but he's a fucking star. And they have from Torino on loan Mbaye Niang, who has traveled all over the place and was supposed to be one of the bright stars of French football, but never made it like on the big level. And then right now Hatem Ben Arfa, ex of PSV and all these teams, is trying to make his name there again. But they're a team that provides a lot of opportunity for a lot of the young players, and their development is very good with the objective to sell and survive that way. And intriguing team, excellent wing play. They will fuck you up off the wings. Ismail Assar a couple of weeks ago had a goal of the week contender in the league. They're awesome to watch.
Word up. As mentioned, 5th place last year, Europa League. Moving along, our awards. D4G, egregious and prestigious awards. Dude of the week goes to.
Dude of the week, after great deliberation and everything, we give it to Eden. The Hazard. Can somebody's name be his nickname? Because that is what he is.
Hazard, he's a hazard to defenses.
Yeah, like he's a one-man wrecking ball, which is funny because he's about 3'2".
Nah, but he killed it this week. Served him up, carved him up in midweek, carved him up again during the weekend.
Dude, I was worried they might try to throw him in the Mersey River so they never see him again. He was destroying Liverpool hearts.
Yeah, taking a lot of fouls too. Goal of the week goes to.
This is our last foul on Eden Hazard. We're going to give goal of the week to Daniel Sturridge.
Sorry, bro. Yeah,
that's beautiful off the bounce volley moment of the game. He only played 4 minutes and he fucking scored a goal that tied the game and kept them undefeated. It was a beauty, but it was also magnified in the moment. I like that he got his chance.
And didn't really celebrate. Sad.
I don't know. First off, that didn't make sense to me. Didn't celebrate because he played for them. He played for like 8 teams.
Oh, I know.
Like, I'd understand if Steven Gerrard went to one other team and he was like, I'm not going to celebrate against Liverpool.
Yep.
But, like, when you played for City, Chelsea, Liverpool, like, Bolton.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Celebrate, son. Celebrate.
Yes, monkey.
Celebrate. Celebrate. Next week, upcoming league games. EPL, we started off... should I be fair or not? We don't even need to mention that game, do we?
No.
Nah, forget it.
Top of the league? No, we don't need to talk about
Fulham, Brighton.
That's going to be spectacular. Let's talk about the Brighton formation in the second half and how
trying to be fair here. Fair coverage. Liverpool hosting City, man.
You could have gotten a year of me to talk about them a lot. You just wanted to talk about them in every section.
Hey, man, we haven't talked a lot about them.
Big team. They deserve to be talked about a lot. I think Liverpool last season showed that their style really, and even before that, like the Klopp style is kind of Pep's team's weakness, and it's super exciting, and I can't call it right now.
Man, I wonder if he trots out that Milner, Henderson, Wijnaldum again.
We're gonna have to. I think that Keita has to make an appearance.
I
think he has to be on this field. And I think I'm gonna give Klopp the benefit of the doubt and say that he did not play him because he has to play in the
Napoli City games.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That's a lot of games that they played, man, against top competition. Serie A has a few interesting games. Lazio, Fiorentina, Napoli, Sassuolo, and my favorite one. I'll let you address those two.
Okay.
Sassuolo is up top 4.
Yeah, Sassuolo is doing a good. They're having a good season this year. Napoli, for some reason, still feels like a team that's still held together. Like they kind of feel like Dortmund last season.
Yeah.
Like they're not as good as they look right now, and they have a feeling that they're gonna fall off.
Oh yeah, I could easily see that.
If you look at Inter and Roma, their teams on the up and up, like they're improving.
Yep.
And it's going to take time. They're dropping points because they're newer teams. But this Napoli team is an old team that just got watered down, and they're basically their metronome and their offensive game planner just bounced. And I don't know if you can just get over that.
Yeah. Last game I wanted to mention in Serie A was my favorite sub moment. Genoa meets Parma. Nothing like salami and Parmesan, baby.
Ham against Parma.
Woo! Always with the food references
That's
here,
gonna
man.
be an excellent game. You better put out a good plate in front of you, though, because you're going to be hungry.
A good hoagie, son. La Liga. Some interesting games. Atletico and Betis.
Yeah, great offense against the great defense. We'll see if Betis is ready for the big time, because last year they made Madrid drop points. We'll see if they can maintain and do something against Atleti this year, because that's your real test about whether you're arrived comes against Atleti, because that's the team that's going to fight you.
Yep. That's 4th against 5th, and also Valencia hosting Barcelona.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. Valencia
coming off the United.
That's what I was going to say. The United. We'll talk about. We'll mention what we think of them on the Thursday's game, and we'll give it a quick rundown.
Word up. And Sevilla hosting Celta Vigo should be a fun game.
Yeah, that should be no defense and just like offense. I am in for that one.
Bayern in the Bundesliga host Mönchengladbach.
We'll see if Bayern come back or Mönchengladbach.
Somebody coming back. Hold up. Lille and Saint Etienne. That's a top 4 battle as of right now.
Lille Saint Etienne.
Lille Saint. That'll be my new rap name.
Lille Saint Etienne.
And PSG Lyon. Whew.
Yeah, PSG Lyon.
Lyon got to get 3. If there's, I'm just saying for the sake of fucking saying it, like you got to get 3, man. A draw and like this shit's gonna be done.
It is done.
It is done. It's done now.
Dude.
It's done
in
now.
September. Now it's October 1st.
And what else is done but this episode, man? This match is in the books. Diving for Glory, Season 2, Episode 8. Let's get it. As always, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate anyone who takes the time to check us out. Don't forget, Diving for Glory posts every Monday and on every Thursday during Champions League weeks on iTunes, YouTube, and divingforglory.com. Hit subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Diving for Glory if you actually are still on Facebook. Please rate us on iTunes so more people will think we're awesome. Until next week, Corsiola. So
Peace.
Diving.
What do you think of condoms?
There's nothing more to say.
Diving.
Glory.